This is Dr. Bev Knox, and you are listening to my psychology tutorials. Learn psychology while you sleep. In this lesson, we will be discussing the need to justify our actions. During the past half-century, social psychologists have discovered that one of the most powerful determinants of human behavior stems from our need to perceive a stable, positive self-image. Most people generally need to see themselves as intelligent, sensible, and decent. Folks who behave with integrity. Indeed, this triggers the behavior change and cognitive distortion. Let us review the theory of cognitive dissonance. According to this theory, people experience discomfort when they behave in ways that are inconsistent with their conception of themselves, which is their self-image. To reduce this discomfort, people either 1. Change their behavior to bring it to line with their cognitions about themselves, 2. Justify their behavior by changing one of their cognitions, or 3. Attempt to justify their behavior by inventing new cognitions. Humans often process information in a very biased way, one that fits in our own preconceived notions. Do we really justify our efforts? People tend to increase their liking for something they have worked hard to attain, even if the thing they attained is not something they would otherwise like. Let us review the psychology of insufficient justification. When we perform an action because of the ample reward to do it, then the action has little or no effect on our attitudes or beliefs. However, if the reward is not big enough to justify the action, we find ourselves experiencing cognitive dissonance because there is little external justification for what we did. This activates an internal process to justify the actions to ourselves. The internal process of self-justification has a much more powerful effect on the individual's long-term values and behaviors than a situation where the external justifications are evident. Now think about this. Are there really hypocrisy applied to social problems? When someone publicly advocates for something that is counter to what he or she believes to be accurate, inducing hypocrisy, making people face the difference between what they say and what they do, is one way to use the human tendency to reduce dissonance to foster social beneficial behaviors. Let us review good and bad deeds. A clever, though manipulative, application to cognitive dissonance theory is to get someone to like you by having them do you a favor. The reason this works is that people need to internally justify the fact that they did something for you. The converse is true as well. If one does harm to another in order to reduce the threat to their self-image, that could come from doing a bad deed. They will tend to justify the bad deed by stating derogatory things about the victim. That is, they will embrace the cognition that the victim deserved the harm, or in more extreme cases, that they are less than human. But what does culture have to do with all of this? Cognitive dissonance is also found to take place in non-Western cultures, but the process and intensity of dissonance reduction does vary, reflecting the difference in cultural norms. The next time we feel the discomfort of having acted counter to our values, we can consciously pause the self-justification process to reflect on our action.